At the age of 7, my life was changed forever in a good way when I was taken to my very first IndyCar race. The purpose of my speech is to inform about how going to my very first Indy 500 turned me into the race fan I am today. I'll be talking about my first experience at an Indy 500, the other racing series it has opened me up to, and why I still love being a race fan. My dad grew up a race fan and had always wanted to take me for a father-son kind of thing. He had gone to the Indy 500 years before in the 90s and decided I was finally old enough to experience it for myself. Seeing and hearing the cars go around the track for the first time at around 240 miles per hour absolutely blew my mind and made me want to see more. Watching drivers risk their lives for a moment in history made me want to do the exact same thing. My very first Indy 500 made me not only grow invested in IndyCar, but also broaden my horizons to many different forms of racing, especially open wheel. I soon began a foray into the world of racing on dirt by watching other open wheel cars called sprint cars. Now, my dad was more of a fan of sprint cars, but he decided a little bit later to take me to those. He soon began taking me on trips to other races that he had long streaks of going to year in and year out, in Iowa and Ohio, called the Knoxville Nationals, which is in Iowa, and the Kings Royal, which is in Ohio. Lastly is why I still love being a race fan. Being a race fan has not only allowed me to travel to places I never would have dreamed of going, like Knoxville, Iowa, a place where no one's even heard of, but it's also opened the door to relationships with people I never would have met if I hadn't gone. I still keep in contact with people from Ohio, Indiana, and even Kansas. Every time I go to any track, no matter where it is, it makes me think back to that very first time I ever went to a race. Things in my life have changed for the absolute better, and it's all due to one experience, and it's that very first Indianapolis 500. It changed my life and created unforgettable moments and created a lifelong race fan out of me.